videos now.
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, we are.
మీ అందరికీ నమస్కారం.
నమస్తే.
సో ఉమా, మీరు అందరూ బాగున్నారా?
బాగున్నాం మాస్టర్. మజామా.
మీరు అందరూ రోజు ధ్యానం చేస్తున్నారా?
చేస్తున్నాం మాస్టర్.
I'm happy. I'm very happy.
We are impressed with your Telugu.
Well, I am trying to learn.
Yes.
Something that something that I missed out 20 years back. I had the opportunity of learning Telugu because all my help was Telugu speakers. And I missed that opportunity. And they were, of course, they were teaching me all those things, but they were teaching me things like, Nur Muskundi or things like that. Anyway, so good to see you all.
Today we have Sunny Garu from our American Telugu Association who will invite you.
Namaste, Daaji.
And then we have few people on the panel, if they have the opportunity, that they will submit their question to you. One is Dr. Ajay Reddy Garu, and also Dr. Saraswati Kalvakota Garu has also joined us. And thank you, Master. Sunny Garu, you can go ahead.
Namaste, Daaji.
Namaskaram, Sunny.
I had an opportunity. I came to your ashram and meet you in person.
I do remember.
If you remember, I used to live in Staten Island. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Richmond Road.
Yes.
Okay.
Namaste, Daaji again. On behalf of ATA, I'm happy to inform you that everyone from our Telugu community are grateful for this opportunity to be enlightened by you. So last Sunday, you mentioned that meditation should begin at the conception. This week, we saw in Kaun Banega Karorpati show where Amitabh Ji was surprised and almost his jaw dropped interacting with a child who mentioned she participated in a Brighter Mind program by Heartfulness led by Reverend Daaji. So is it the child's consciousness that was evolved through the Brighter Minds program, along with the cognitive abilities and the sensory perception? How is it possible to start a meditation at conception? Please enlighten us, Daaji.
The entire topic of conception, consciousness, cognitive abilities, all these subjects are very dear to my heart. When someone asked our Guruji, especially under whom I started, Babuji Maharaj from Sadhampur, that what's the best time to start meditation? Then he shared all these stories with us that, the best time is the year 18 years. But now seeing the change in the environment and the maturity, children are developing earlier in their lifetime. Age 15 is good too. But he quoted his own master, Lalaji, and said, excuse, that my Guruji preferred that the actual spiritual journey should begin at the moment of conception. And when it is missed, then you can start at the age of 15 now, see. So the question, as you rightfully asked, how to decide as parents and somehow invoke or somehow initiate this journey, spiritual journey, to a soul that has chosen the parents. So I'll share with you some stories, being I myself as an NRI also, I used to frequently visit my Guruji. And this was when I already had my two boys who were teenagers in 90s. I had this question in my mind just to clarify that, these NRIs, they come to India or they go to some vacation spots and all that. And the idea of conception is very much strong in their mind. But what if the child is conceived in the Western countries? Will there be a devilish soul? And if I want to have Punyatma, should I have this conception done in India? What is so important? Is it the moment of conception or the time of birth and place of birth and all those things, you see? So he very lovingly answered, he said, It is the attitude of parents at the moment of conception that determines the quality of the incoming soul. The attitude with which two individuals are coming together, that determines. And when we think over this attitude business, can I, for that moment alone, fabricate sattvic attitude? Can you, is it in your control then? Both of you are not in check or control of yourself at that very moment. In fact, even so-called sattvic people also lose their sattvikta at that very moment and say, oh, then they regret, oh, why did I do this? Regret takes over to a lot of couples. So, what kind of attitude is required to welcome a soul of higher caliber or higher potency? So, I like to then he shared with me a story from Mahabharata. You all are familiar with the story of how Raja Dhritarashtra, Raja Pandu, and Vidur were conceived. Their parents, especially the father, could not make that happen. So his mother decided that I should have these queens be conceived by a great sage Vyasa. And Muhurtam was selected that at this particular Muhurtam, if this child or these queens conceive the children, then the soul will be of a higher stature. So sage Vyasa was invited and said, okay, we request you prayerfully to come and mate with our queens. He came, not to miss out the Muhurtam. He mate with the first queen. She was in aghast. She got so scared and so fearful seeing his attire coming straight from the forest, unwashed perhaps. She closed her eyes. Child that was born was Dhritarashtra. He goes to another queen's chamber at another Muhurtam. But again, seeing the attire of this person, says Vyasa, the queen, she simply froze. Not with this guy. Her blood circulation almost stopped. Her skin became pale at that moment. The child that was conceived was Pandu, leucodermic skin. While another maid was chosen by these two queens, they were very smart queens. They didn't want this reputation again against their will. So as an insurance policy, so that, if we too don't conceive any child, at least this maid, Daaji, can conceive perhaps. So she was requested and she felt honored. She felt so honored that Mahobhagyam, see, my fortune, my luck has opened up, that I'm so lucky to have the opportunity of conceiving a child with a sage Vyasa. He was the greatest of the lot then, see. You can't find it as a better person than him. She felt honored. The child that was born was Vidur, full of wisdom, tremendous insight and intuition. Is the brightest, wisest of the lot in the entire Mahabharata thing after Lord Krishna. So you see the attitude of especially one individual also makes a big difference. The kind of attitude we have, the vibratory pattern of the couple invites a soul that matches that vibration. It fits in exactly like lock and key. Nobody comes, last time I was sharing with you, what happens to the exiting soul as it goes out? Which dimension will it reach? It will reach out to the same dimension, which will match its vibratory frequency. Heavier the soul means a lot of karmas, lot of bad things that has been done by that particular soul will carry a heavier, denser, grosser vibrations, and they will be floating around to the physical manifested universe. The loftier ones, they go to a higher dimension, which are not physical in nature. And there are multiple such dimensions, perhaps infinite. Likewise, at that moment of conception, depending upon the vibratory environment that is created by the couple, invites the soul, and that fits in like lock and key. So it is up to us how to lovingly invite such souls. Can you, as I was saying, fabricate that moment and say, oh my God, I'd like to be so saintly and sattvic and loving. If it is not in you from the beginning, you cannot fabricate artificially. So the insistence on leading a sattvic life from the very beginning. And it's not too late. The questions when I had asked, I already had two children. Then my Guruji said, of course, I'm giving a comb to a bald man. Ravi doesn't need a comb, right? Or neither did one Madhava. What's the use of giving a comb to a bald man? And similarly, a person who already has children, why give this advice of conception? Already too late. But he said you can share this knowledge with youngsters who still has the opportunity. But these days, more and more dangerous things are happening with our youngsters. Delay. And that's what I would like to emphasize in today's discussion. Delay in marriage, delay in having children, and the consequences as a result of it. Some of you may have read a book by Dr. Bruce Lipton. If you have not, I would highly recommend this book. It's called Biology of Belief. It's an excellent book. There he is talking about epigenetic changes. Epigenetics is a big field today, how the environment affects the genetic changes. And he specifically targets the growth of embryo in mothers under various environments. And they did study the effect of, let us say, a mother who is in a bad neighborhood. I can understand because I had practiced as a pharmacist in Brooklyn, New York, tough neighborhoods, where you're not sure what will happen next, where your husband is sleeping with a gun under his pillow, and you as his wife who is motherly and trying to conceive a baby. Imagine kind of vibrations you are carrying at that moment, And so Dr. Bruce Lipton, he said, this environment, fearful environment, it provokes sympathetic nervous system, invokes sympathetic nervous system, where you as a mother are always in the fight or flight mode or freeze mode. And what happens, when you study sympathomimetic system, the response is very simple. The blood is diverted towards your limbs, your hands and your legs. If you are strong enough, you will punch the other person as a response. You fight. Or take a flight. Your leg starts running because you're so afraid at that moment, scared. But then what happens when your blood is diverted to your limbs at the cost of visceral organs, your digestive system, your lungs, your heart, your liver, your brain? Part of the brain is also very selective because during the sympathetic response, most of the blood goes to your amphibian, brain, the back part of your brain. It somehow your frontal cognitive abilities, which is endowed with the frontal cortex, is hijacked by other organs, other parts of your brain. So many things happens at that time. Suppose a lady is pregnant and husband is behaving bad all the time. See, turbulent atmosphere in the house, not knowing what sort of response will be there from others or in your neighborhood. You're always under fear, stress. Then what happens there? The mother or the child that is growing within, the child has nothing to do with the external. But somehow the inner environment of the mother is filled, it's saturated with these neurotransmitters, stress hormones. So there too, the blood supply will be more in the limbs at the cost of visceral organs. Limbs will be longer than both parents. Visceral organs also will be underdeveloped. Frontal cortex will also be underdeveloped, where such children will have lesser cognitive abilities. So the importance of providing happy, familiar, joyous atmosphere to a mother-to-be. In Gujarat, Maharashtra, especially in, I think most of our states, including Telangana, where there is a Garbhavatiga, you have this, no? Garbhavatiga, Unnapudu, Valani, Puttiniki, Pampiwadi. It has a lot of wisdom behind it. Where Garbhavati woman would go to her parents' place with a lot of rituals, with a lot of honor, with a lot of respect. They will offer so much of worship and prayerfully, with a lot of rituals, is sent out to her parents' place. Our society has largely been agrarian society, you see. And if a pregnant woman is still staying at her husband's place, she will feel hesitant. She would like to get involved with day-to-day work also. But our elders understood that it is not necessary that she should get involved with day-to-day work, and so that she doesn't feel guilty. She should stay with her familiar atmosphere, more conducive to harmony, which is at parents' place, where she will be well looked after like a princess. She will have a proper rest. Child or the fetus that will grow will have so much of joy and harmony. Well, such atmosphere can produce greater chances of producing overall better equipped and better cognitive abilities, child endowed with better cognitive abilities. Now, per contra, if you are under stress, the back part of the brain will be more developed at the cost of the frontal part, you see. In happier families, in his studies by Dr. Bruce Lipton, he says suburban mothers, better lifestyle, joyful life food. Their frontal cortex was very well developed. They'll have normal physical and mental growth, emotional growth as well. So it's a very fascinating study of how epigenetics can shape the life of a child. Say. Now, the fundamental question that arises that when Lalaji Maharaj, our Adi Guru, says that the moment of conception is the best time to trigger this journey. But as I was mentioning, even the best and sattvic couple also can miss out in recognizing this very moment where child is conceived. Very rarely a mother or a lady would know. Man would never know it. Mother would definitely know this is the moment of conception. Most mothers would tell you, oh, I am pregnant. Even before the test, she can tell you. So I would like to make a suggestion that meditative mind creates a certain habits. And as we develop this habit of remaining meditative mentally, your inner attitude changes, your inner nature changes permanently. And it is this inner nature will remain sattvic even at that very moment. You don't have to remind yourself that let me be sattvic and kiss my wife. It's your nature. Even when you touch things, that will have the vibrations of your hands. When you take a spoon and take food, it will have the vibration of your hand, because a meditative mind will try to remain more and more meditative, because it is like, nasha. Person who has enjoyed a certain level of samadhi, he will never be happy with one level of samadhi. He would want to go deeper and deeper and deeper. It's worse than drugs, I'm telling you. Samadhi, if you have experienced it, you become samadhi addict. And it's good. It's very good. It changes our overall habit, our overall way of thinking, our overall attitude, and it changes our nature for good. So we can make a sankalpa with such a state of mind. Since I know for sure that I will miss out in recognizes that moment of conception. So what should I be doing? I make a sankalpa that whenever that happens with my wife, may God guide a rightful soul and help his spiritual journey. We remain as trustees to this incoming soul. So make such a sankalpa, a prayerful suggestion to God. And you see how your own life changes. The life of a child that is, incoming, growing within, will also be different. So spirituality, people say, what do you do with closed eyes? How do you contribute to society? You guys are doing nothing. But when you see the lasting impact it can have, it can change the humanity actually at large. So we have a greater role to play. And as they say, consciousness is the fundamental thing. When we look at it from epigenetic point of view, if we always remain turbulent with our consciousness, our genetic behavior also will respond accordingly. And when many individuals who has a very highly developed level of consciousness, they come together, I don't mean physically, but vibrationally all across the globe. And when this critical mass is reached, some level of egregore will be formed. And this level of egregore of consciousness will definitely change the genetic response. And the change in genetic response means mutation. So in a way, we are helping towards a better human society in the future. As individuals, we do definitely benefit, because a calm and peaceful mind can be more creative than a turbulent mind. Some of you who had seen this, Kaun Banega Crorepati, Amitabh Bachchan, he was baffled, perplexed, seeing that child doing things which normal child would not be able to do it. For example, they would blindfold themselves and read a book. Well, somebody may argue that God has given you two eyes. Why do you need to blindfold and read? Of course, it's a very logical question. But most important thing that develops is confidence. That look, I can read it blindfold. And how intuitive that child must be, that you shut off your optical vision, dependency on optical vision, and your trans-sensory abilities are developed. So instead of seeing things, you're touching things and feeling things, and you're able to say, oh, it is this color, or it is this word, or it is this sentence. So the intuition simply skyrockets. We would like to see their consciousness develop so high. And with that higher level of consciousness and intuition, keep on growing. And then we keep wondering what will become of this child when that child grows up. We don't know. Our studies so far shows that the children between 5 and 15 only are able to learn, or we are only able to train children between this age, 5 and 15. After that, we lose the ability of learning this art of this inner intuition. If you like, Sunny, we can have this demonstration. I think we had done it once in one of your session, either with Tana or with Ata, I don't recollect. Maybe Umagaru can share with you on that. But we can do it on TV also, but TV is no fun either. See, because a skeptical mind will always work with that. Somebody must be telling them in the back, that, oh, it is this sentence or that sentence, or this color or that color. So best would be in person, you see. And whenever you have a big gathering, just let us know. We'll send about half a dozen children with these abilities. They can sometimes, let us say, I had once given a letter or a magazine to a child who has never learned German. And that morning I had received one German magazine. one of our satsangi had come from Germany, so they brought one German magazine. And this one of the child came up showing me, uncle, I can do magical things. I said, like what? He said, I can read. So he started reading. Then I gave him the German magazine. Then he said, uncle, this is not English, this is different language. That itself was something extraordinary for me. Second thing, he said, I don't know German language, but I can tell you the meaning of it. So that is also very perplexing, that how is it that you don't know the language, yet you are able to understand the meaning? That was another fascinating things I was able to see with these children. And it's a very simple programs. That will come to that some other time. I think I have covered enough on the idea of conception and how meditation can help us develop a right state of mind. See? Because meditating for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, of course, it's good. Doing meditation for that period helps us maintain a meditative state later on during our working hours. See, as a mother or as a father, you can perform your duties well when you have a meditative mind. When you're cooking, or when you're doing your office work. a meditative mind is more effective than an ordinary mind. So we need to make use of it. And when we invoke the presence of God in all our activities, mundane or at home, mundane activities like in the office, when you have a meditative mind and also invoke the presence of God, that I am doing this for the Lord, or I am doing this to make God happy. Such simple sentiments also can change the nature of our work. It can become more effective because you be trying to become more careful when you involve such higher entities when we work. And somehow this work also becomes puja, kind of a worship. Where Lord Krishna talks about in Gita, he classifies 3 types of actions: karma, vikarma, and the highest is akarma. Karma, we are all used to karma. Kaam karte rehte hain. We keep working. Everybody does it. Whether you meditate or not, everybody does it. Vikarma is Vishishta karma. Vikarma means Vishishta karma. With special attention you are working. That's also not all, but some of us are able to do it. But akarma, that you love things so much, like a mother looking after a child. You will never find a mother cursing a child and say, Betty, I always have to breastfeed you all the time. Will she curse? But if a husband or a father has to get up in the middle of night and warm up the bottle of milk, he'll perhaps write it in his diary also and tell his wife, look, you were sleeping and I had to wake up and warm up this milk and, make a story also out of it. So when work is done with a lot of love, the impressions don't hang on to your head. It is because of these impressions we create our future. When you hate something, these hateful vibrations, impressions remains with you. And who knows, in your next birth, God may refuse you a child. Last time I gifted you a child and you hated to breastfeed or whatever. Or you didn't want to, or you were making stories out of this child. You deny certain opportunity. So the God also denies you something. Now, coming back to this idea of conception at early age, I'd like to set a story of Amazonian forests. There are many wise people there, elders especially. And these days, many youngsters are moving away from Amazonian jungles into cities for better life. So what happens then? Then the elders who had so much of knowledge which has been given by their forefathers, and the youngsters, they leave this forest so early. Who will learn this? So this knowledge transfer doesn't happen easily in Amazonian forests. Why I'm giving this example is now I'll tell you a real story. Sometime in 2012, a friend of mine's daughter came from Atlanta to Madras for some work. She grew up in front of our eyes. So literally we knew each other so well. So I asked her, she was then perhaps 24, 25. My dear, when are you getting married? Everybody asked me the same question. I said, all right. She was getting upset over that. But then I turned the question around just to humor her. I asked her, whom do you like the most in your family? So she promptly, before I even finished my question, she says, my grandma. So at that moment, I had this question immediately came to my head. So will you be able to give a grandma to your grandchildren? She started thinking, what do you mean? I said, look, you are 25 now. When do you think you'll get married? Oh, maybe 31, 32. I said, okay. When will you have children? 35. And what will doctor say? You'll have to be careful. After 35, your reproductive age is declining. Your most effective is between 15 and 35, but I don't expect you to get pregnant before 20 perhaps, because you're studying and all that, see. But your peak is by 25, 26. After that, it starts declining. Would you like to give wrong, weaker genes to your children? And then what happens to your grandchildren? How old will your mother be when your child turns and becomes a teenager? And I doubt if your mother would be around when your child is turning into teenager. And if your child turns into a teenager, her hormones will be boiling, teenage hormones. And yours too, you will be in menopause. The whole house would be rocking. You under menopause, your teenagers are having tantrums. What happens to that house? Moreover, why there is there a good reason why you want to postpone it? I do understand. You have other choices, other preferences in life. But imagine the price you are paying. I am also paying the price at the moment. I'm sharing you my painful experiences. At this moment, I'm 66 years of age. I have 2 grandchildren. I can't even lift them. My shoulders hurt. I sit here with the hot water bottle behind my back. It's this knowledge transfer, which we talk about, gentler stories. When I was talking with that girl, she said, why did you like your grandmother so much? And you still remember her? Well, she was telling so many nice stories. She was so affectionate. The way she was sitting, the way she was talking, she was so soft. What about your parents? No, my parents are always on the go. They have no time for me. They're short-tempered. So it's the grandparents who are at the fag end of their life, sunset of their lives. They're more at peace and they're able to share those peaceful vibrations with grandchildren. See, you don't want to rob this opportunity from your children in not having grandparents. There's a lot of wisdom I think we can adopt, learn from our Indian culture. One I already shared with you, how Garbhavati traditions are celebrated in India and how these marriages are planned. What do you know about your emotions? You think you know everything more than your parents? That is an illusion. Your parents have changed your diapers. They have known when you sneeze. They have also known when you get into diarrhea. They also know every little mood of yours. You don't know yourself that well as teenager. And what is your state of mind? Today you like this, tomorrow you may not like that at all. Your choices are fluctuating. You don't know what you really want in life. Ask your parents. They know you a lot better. Trust me when I say this. Let them make some choices, but final choice, you can always make it for yourself. Give them some opportunity of playing their part, not just taking money from your parents. Don't think they are just the providers at a financial level, but they have a lot to offer. Provoke them. Anyway, before I hurt more teenagers, my pranams to you all. We'll meditate now. I don't think I will be in a position to entertain more questions. We can reserve these questions for next time. Sanigaru, I will start this meditation now. And as usual, Uma will end the session. Okay? Namaskaram. Let's all meditate now.
That's all. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope to see you all next Sunday. Thanks to the panel members. We hope to get an opportunity to ask Revered Daaji the questions that you have next time. Thank you.